I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up.
I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes?
I needed a job.
Snow White Voice Part 1. The Snow White controversy took another turn as actress Rachel Zegler finds herself at the center of a fierce debate. The young star, best known for her role in West Side Story, was cast as Snow White in Disney's upcoming live-action remake of the iconic 1937 animated film. While initially met with excitement, her involvement has since ignited a wave of backlash that has raised questions about her portrayal, her comments on the original film, and the direction Disney is taking with this beloved fairy tale. This live-action remake, set to hit theaters in March 2025, is expected to be a bold departure from the classic version. Directed by Mark Webb and featuring a screenplay by acclaimed writers Greta Gerwig and Aaron Cressida Wilson, the new Snow White promises to offer a modernized version of the story, one that reimagines its characters and themes for contemporary audiences. With a star-studded cast including Zegler as Snow White and Gal Gadot as the Evil Queen, the film had all the ingredients for success. Yet, as the release date looms, controversy surrounding both the film and its lead actress threatens to overshadow its launch. The D23 Expo reveal. Setting the stage, the controversy first gained momentum after Disney's D23 Expo, where the initial footage of the film was revealed. Audiences got their first look at Gal Gadot in the role of the Evil Queen, a performance that has garnered praise for its dark and magnetic allure. Gadot, a globally recognized star from her role as Wonder Woman, brings a commanding presence to the screen, and her portrayal of the iconic Disney villain promises to be one of the highlights of the film. However, it wasn't Gadot's Evil Queen that stole the spotlight in the months following the reveal. It was Rachel Zegler's Snow White. Fans of the original film, which was based on the 1812 Brothers Grimm fairy tale, have expressed skepticism over Zegler's casting. The original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is a foundational piece of Disney's history, not only being their first full-length animated feature, but also establishing the company's reputation for creating timeless and enchanting stories. For many, any drastic changes to the characters or story feel like an affront to the legacy of the classic. A new Snow White, modernization, or controversy. In the months leading up to the film's release, Zegler has been vocal about her interpretation of the character. In interviews, she shared her thoughts on the original 1937 version of Snow White, which she admitted she only watched once and did not particularly enjoy. This revelation has been a point of contention for many fans, who feel that the actress's lukewarm attitude toward the original material makes her an odd choice to lead such an important remake. Zegler's comments during interviews have only fueled the fire. She has made it clear that her portrayal of Snow White will be drastically different from the passive, love-seeking princess audiences know from the animated film. Instead, this new Snow White will be more focused on empowerment, leadership, and self-determination. In a Variety interview, Zegler explained that her character is not going to be saved by the prince, and instead of waiting for true love, Snow White will be ruling her kingdom and pursuing her goals with strength and independence. While this vision for the character aligns with modern feminist ideals, it has sparked a divided response from Disney fans. Some see Zegler's interpretation as a welcome update to an outdated fairy tale, one that empowers its female lead in ways the original did not. Others, however, feel that these changes stray too far from the heart of the story, and that Snow White's original arc of finding love and kindness in the face of adversity shouldn't be abandoned for the sake of modernity. The backlash intensifies. Critics speak out. Much of the backlash has centered around Zegler's criticism of Prince Charming. In an interview with Extra TV, Zegler referred to the character as a stalker, a remark that left many fans bristling. The romantic element between Snow White and the prince has long been a hallmark of the story, and Zegler's dismissal of this relationship as outdated or problematic struck a nerve. Fans who cherish the romance of the original film argue that Zegler's comments are overly critical, and many have taken to social media platforms like TikTok and Twitter to express their discontent. The criticism hasn't stopped with her comments on Prince Charming. Zegler's public remarks, where she downplayed her connection to the original story, have led to further scrutiny. Disney purists argue that Zegler lacks the respect for the source material necessary to bring the character of Snow White to life in a way that honors the legacy of the original. One viral tweet summed up the frustration. Rachel Zegler said she didn't even like Snow White and only watched it once. Out of all the actresses who love Snow White, she's the one playing her? Seriously. This sentiment has been echoed by conservative commentators, including outspoken figures like Tomi Lahren, who criticized Zegler for biting the hand that feeds her by being dismissive of the classic film that gave her the role. Lahren's critiques of Zegler highlight a broader cultural divide that has emerged around Disney's recent live-action remakes, with some accusing the studio of straying too far from the timeless values of its earlier works in favor of more politically or socially driven narratives. Social media stirring the pot. TikTok reactions and rumors of recasting. As with many controversies in the modern age, social media has played a crucial role in amplifying the debate. On platforms like TikTok, fans and critics alike have taken to dissecting Zegler's interviews and offering their takes on the upcoming Snow White remake. Some users have voiced their support for the new, empowered version of the character, while others have harshly criticized Disney for choosing an actress who seemingly doesn't value the original film. Amid this social media storm, rumors have emerged that Disney is reconsidering Zegler's involvement in the project. Some reports have suggested that if the backlash continues to escalate, Disney might make the decision to drop Zegler from future Snow White-related projects, including potential sequels. These rumors, while unconfirmed, have added to the tension surrounding the film's release. A prominent YouTuber, Mike Zero, recently claimed that Disney executives, including CEO Bob Iger, are closely monitoring the audience's reaction to the ongoing drama. According to Zero, Disney is even considering scrapping a planned sequel to the film and rethinking its approach to the Snow White character entirely if the backlash becomes too damaging. Whether or not these reports are accurate, they reflect the high stakes involved in this remake and the pressure Disney faces to balance creative innovation with fan expectations. Disney's struggle, balancing tradition and modernization. Disney's decision to remake its classic animated films in live action has been a strategic move that has brought both successes and missteps. On the one hand, live-action remakes like The Lion King 2019 and Beauty and the Beast 2017 have been major box office hits, drawing in nostalgic audiences eager to see their favorite stories reimagined with cutting-edge visuals. On the other hand, films like Mulan 2020 faced intense criticism for deviating too far from the original, alienating fans in the process. The challenge Disney faces is finding the right balance between honoring the spirit of the original films while updating them to reflect modern values. In an era of heightened social awareness, Disney has made a concerted effort to reframe its classic tales in ways that feel more inclusive and empowering. However, this approach hasn't always been well received, especially by purists who feel that certain aspects of these stories should remain untouched. In the case of Snow White, this debate has reached a fever pitch. The original film, released in 1937, holds a special place in Disney's history, and any changes to its core elements, such as the depiction of Snow White herself or the role of the seven dwarfs, will inevitably be scrutinized. The question for Disney is whether modernizing these elements will attract a new generation of viewers or alienate the very audience that made the original a beloved classic. Rachel Zegler's response: a strategic move? In the face of growing backlash, Zegler has taken to social media in what some see as a strategic effort to repair her public image. She recently posted a series of nostalgic throwback photos of herself dressed as various Disney princesses, including Snow White, with the caption, Every kid should believe they can be a princess, no matter what. This post was met with a mix of reactions. Some fans applauded her attempt to connect with Disney's legacy and to reaffirm her love for the character she's set to portray, while others viewed the post as a calculated PR move aimed at quieting the criticism. While Zegler has not directly responded to the controversy surrounding her earlier comments, her social media activity suggests that she is keenly aware of the narrative being built around her. The actress seems to be navigating a fine line between championing her vision for a modern Snow White and attempting to win over a skeptical fanbase. The future of the Snow White remake. Disney at a crossroads. As the release date for Disney's live-action Snow White draws closer, it's clear that this film will be more than just another entry in the company's lineup of remakes. It has become a cultural battleground where questions of tradition, modernization, and representation collide. For Disney, the stakes are high. The company's reputation for crafting timeless stories is at risk if this film is perceived as disrespecting the original. At the same time, Disney is eager to prove that it can create stories that resonate with today's audiences by reinterpreting its classic characters in new and meaningful ways. The success or failure of Snow White could influence Disney's future approach to its live-action remakes. If audiences embrace Zegler's empowered portrayal of the character, it could pave the way for more bold reimaginings of beloved classics. However, if the backlash continues to grow, Disney may be forced to reconsider its strategy and return to a more traditional approach for future projects. As fans and critics alike eagerly await the release of Snow White, one thing is clear. This film has already left an indelible mark on the conversation surrounding Disney's legacy and the direction of its storytelling. Whether Zegler's Snow White will rise above the controversy or be overshadowed by it remains to be seen. But there's no doubt that this film is set to be one of Disney's most talked about releases in years. Certainly, the Snow White live-action remake has stirred up various controversies beyond just Rachel Zegler's comments, touching on cultural representation, casting choices, and the portrayal of beloved characters. Let's take a look at the broader scope of the Snow White controversies. 1. Casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White. A debate on representation. Rachel Zegler's casting as Snow White was one of the earliest points of contention for some audiences, sparking debates on cultural representation. Zegler, a Latina actress of Colombian and Polish descent, is notably different from the fair-skinned, raven-haired Snow White traditionally depicted in the 1937 animated classic. Some critics questioned why Disney cast an actress who doesn't fit the original visual description of the character, especially given that the name Snow White refers to her skin being as white as snow in the Grimm brothers' fairy tale. While many celebrated Zegler's casting as a step toward more inclusive and diverse representation in Disney films, others felt that this was a departure from the original European-inspired look and story of Snow White. The debate on casting a non-white actress for a character with such iconic physical traits raised discussions about how closely Disney should adhere to traditional depictions in their remakes versus embracing modernization and representation. 2. Portrayal of the Seven Dwarfs. Representation and sensitivity concerns. Another significant controversy surrounding the upcoming Snow White remake focuses on the portrayal of the Seven Dwarfs. The original 1937 animated film features dwarfs as Snow White's charming and helpful companions, with each dwarf characterized by distinct personalities like Grumpy, Dopey, and Doc. However, Disney's live-action remake is reportedly reimagining these characters, and this has sparked conversations about cultural sensitivity and the portrayal of people with dwarfism in Hollywood. The controversy intensified when actor Peter Dinklage, who has achondroplasia, a form of dwarfism, voiced his disapproval of Disney's decision to remake Snow White with the Seven Dwarfs in an interview on Marc Maron's podcast, WTF. Dinklage expressed frustration with the continued portrayal of dwarfs in the context of a backward fairy tale, calling it a story about seven dwarfs living in a cave. Disney responded to Dinklage's comments by promising to take a different approach to how these characters will be depicted in the live-action version. Instead of focusing solely on their physical stature, the studio indicated that they will consult with members of the dwarfism community and explore more respectful and innovative ways to portray the beloved companions. The direction Disney will take remains unclear, but the move to rethink the depiction of the seven dwarfs signals the company's attempt to avoid reinforcing stereotypes that may be seen as offensive by modern standards. However, this also caused a split in public opinion. Some fans applauded Disney for addressing these issues and promoting inclusivity, while others felt that this change could strip away one of the key elements that made the original story unique and beloved by generations. 3. The feminist revision of Snow White's character. A divisive topic. As mentioned earlier, Rachel Zegler's portrayal of Snow White aims to bring a more feminist and modern approach to the character. This shift from the traditional damsel in distress trope to a more empowered, independent princess has sparked a mixed reaction. In the original animated film, Snow White is a passive character whose main arc revolves around her kindness and naivety, and who ultimately needs to be rescued by Prince Charming. In the new version, however, Zegler's Snow White is being reimagined as a leader and a strong-willed individual who will not rely on a prince for salvation. Instead, her story will be about personal growth and leadership, with little focus on romance. Zegler herself emphasized this in interviews, explaining that Snow White won't be dreaming about true love or waiting for a prince to save her. This modernized take has drawn praise from some who believe it aligns better with current feminist ideals and reflects a more progressive worldview. However, others feel that the drastic shift is unnecessary and dismissive of what made the original character appealing: her innocence, kindness, and romantic aspirations. Some fans of the original film argue that Disney's attempt to modernize its princesses risks alienating those who appreciate the more traditional values and fairy tale elements of the classics. This has led to polarized opinions on social media, with some welcoming Snow White's transformation into a stronger female character, while others accuse Disney of needlessly fixing something that wasn't broken. 4. Early set photos. Snow White and the Not Dwarfs. In the summer of 2023, leaked set photos of the Snow White live-action film caused further controversy when they showed Snow White, played by Rachel Zegler, alongside a diverse group of characters who did not resemble the iconic seven dwarfs from the original movie. These figures were taller, came from various ethnic backgrounds, and included both men and women. Some fans jokingly referred to them as Snow White and the Not Dwarfs, underscoring their stark difference from the original seven companions. Disney quickly clarified that these images were from rehearsals with stand-ins and not the final cast or characters. However, the damage was done, and fans continued to speculate about how Disney would handle the dwarfs' portrayal. While some praised the diversity on display in the set photos, others were concerned that the film was straying too far from the source material and diminishing the role of the seven dwarfs as uniquely characterized individuals in the story. The controversy also highlighted a larger conversation about how much creative license studios should take when remaking classic films. The mix of excitement, confusion, and outrage surrounding the set photos reflects the high level of scrutiny placed on Disney's live-action adaptations. 5. Social media backlash. The role of TikTok and Twitter. Social media has played a crucial role in amplifying many of these controversies, particularly when it comes to Rachel Zegler's public comments and casting. Platforms like TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube have been filled with reactions, some supportive but many critical of the direction Disney is taking with the remake. Rachel Zegler, in particular, has been the target of both praise and vitriol, with her interviews being analyzed and critiqued by fans who either support or oppose the changes she is bringing to the role of Snow White. Memes and viral tweets poking fun at Zegler's remarks about not liking the original Snow White or her dismissal of Prince Charming as a stalker have created an online environment where even minor comments can be blown out of proportion. On TikTok, some users have shared videos where they dramatically lament the changes to Snow White's character, while others argue that it's time for Disney to break free from outdated gender roles. The conversation has become emblematic of a larger culture war around media and entertainment, where traditionalists often clash with those advocating for progressive updates to classic stories. As social media continues to shape the public discourse around the film, Disney faces the challenge of navigating these divided reactions in the lead-up to the movie's release. 6. Potential financial impact. Will controversy affect box office success? One of the looming questions is whether the Snow White remake will face a box office fallout due to these controversies. Disney has previously experienced mixed results with its live-action adaptations. While The Lion King, 2019, and Beauty and the Beast, 2017, were huge successes, others like Dumbo, 2019, and Mulan, 2020, struggled to meet expectations, partially due to similar backlash and controversies. Some industry analysts predict that the negative press surrounding Zegler's comments and the various debates over representation and modernization could hurt the film's performance, especially if fans of the original feel alienated. However, others believe that the curiosity surrounding the film and its new take on Snow White may draw audiences, especially if the marketing emphasizes the film's strong visual elements and high-profile cast, including Gal Gadot as the evil queen. Ultimately, the success of Snow White will likely depend on how effectively Disney navigates these controversies in the months leading up to the release, as well as how well the film itself resonates with both nostalgic fans and newer, more progressive audiences. These controversies highlight the complex, often fraught relationship between honoring beloved classics and embracing change to reflect modern values. As the debate surrounding Disney's Snow White remake continues, it's clear that the film will serve as a cultural flashpoint for larger conversations about representation, storytelling, and the evolving role of fairy tales in contemporary cinema. What do you think? Are you excited for Rachel's interpretation, or do you feel it strays too far from tradition? Share your thoughts in the comments, and remember to like and subscribe for all the hottest celebrity and film news.